to us, supporting him, who is from that man.
Yes, sir.
Now wait a minute. If this is dedicated to the memory of Amiri Baraka, it's dedicated to the memory of a man who was a cultural nationalist and yet grew universally. All of us start out on a narrow path, but then as our wisdom grows, we see more and more of humanity. This man was a high school professor, and I learned that he wanted to be mayor. And I and his mom and his dad, we sat in a room. I think it was his father. I don't know whether mother was there. And I was telling him how serious that quest is.
Yes, sir.
See, some of us don't realize we're so wanting notoriety, so desirous of being seen without the complementary knowledge that being seen requires. So the white man, all he has to do, we don't want money more than we want fame. So sign here, and I'll make you a big one. That means N with a capital. I'll make you a big one. Don't worry about money. But our people sign up, and they're being used to facilitate a culture that is so degrading to our humanity.
Yes, sir.
But they're rich now. They can wear gold in their teeth and diamonds in between. Can you imagine a smiling jackass? No sense. I don't need no sense. I got money. So men like that would scorn Maulana, scorn Dr. Daniels. They wouldn't be in a conference like this because money makes them feel they have arrived, and especially with money and a white woman. Now, Roz has a beautiful black woman by his side. A beautiful black mother who's not here today, but she worries about her son. What mother wouldn't when the enemy does not want any thinking black man to be a mayor over one of his cities? They don't mind you being mayor if you're not a thinking man. But I met him as a student at Howard. He'd been thinking and fighting for us. And he didn't get to be a mayor not to stop fighting. But the fight is on a different level. And what some of us don't understand is, you know, we like fighting. I saw the fight last night. I went to see if my brother would handle the business, you know. They gave it to him, but I didn't mind. They chewed us in so many ways. Now, Farrakhan, is that what you came to tell us? I want to praise and thank my brother. Yes, sir. Because when I came in this city at the airport, he and the black police chief provided me with an escort as if I were the president of the United States of America. And that escort stayed with me in the rain and the hail. They're black brothers and some white or Hispanic. And I want to meet them all today because police are necessary. But we need good policing. And the only way we can make good policing is if we make them ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I love you, and I will stand by you, dear brother, and take all the soldiers that we have to protect you in your office. Now, I think I can get right to the point. Why are we here? We have great conferences. Sometimes conferences is intellectual masturbation. I'm sorry to put it in a vulgar term. But my brother spoke so eloquently about hearing and about doing. It's the practice that refines the principle. And if there is no practice, the principle lays there waiting for somebody to take it and practice it to bring about the results of what that man was teaching us this morning. And that's what gives you power. You don't have power by reciting. You have power by practicing what you recite until you don't have to recite it no more. It's in living flesh and color for you to see. So I'm going to go to the scripture a minute. There was some bones in a valley. They called them dry bones. And God sent a son of man into the valley to talk to the bones. And the bones were talking to each other. Bones.
Yes.
And look at how the bones were talking. Our bones are dry. Our hope is lost. We are cut off from each other.
Yes.
Translate that into modern parlance. Niggas ain't never gonna unite. All our great leaders have come and tried. Our hope is lost. When your hope is lost, what do? See, I'm tired of the struggle. He was trying to quicken us again to the struggle. Why would he have to quicken us to a struggle that some of us were in the 60s, but we're not struggling anymore. We're just trying to survive now. If we've lost the willingness to soldier because our hair is gray or we can fix it, I like being truthful, you know. But when you feel old and tired and somewhat abused and misused, you settle. And you settle and you call it the retirement fever. You know, I've given it the best I could.
Yes, sir.
These niggas don't like it, you know what I mean? I was invited to Rutgers yesterday, and they gave me a subject to talk on, my great hero, Paul Robeson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The children at Rutgers, where he graduated, didn't even know the history of that man. But before Malcolm, before Martin, before the great revolutionaries of the 60s, there was Paul by himself, risking it all to make us a better people, only to die in a lonesome bed in Philadelphia, feeling that we had forgotten him. I know so many black people who lived their life for us. My dear mother, Rosa Parks, some young black person broke into her house and slapped her down. How could we allow our youth not to know those that made it possible for them? How could there be a movie called Barbershop, and in the movie Dr. King is mocked? A man that gave his life for us. And the enemy never taught you the evolutionary development of that man's thinking. So if you don't know the Martin Luther King that was assassinated in 1968, if you don't know the man that night that preached at the temple there in Memphis, if you're not familiar with him and the things he was saying as he was exiting the world, if you don't know the words of Brother Malcolm as he was exiting the world, if we don't know the thoughts of Marcus Garvey, the thoughts of Noble Drew Ali, the thoughts of Booker T. Washington, everybody that was in our struggle was evolving from where they were. Yes. And when they passed from this earth, they had words to speak to us because they learned lessons before they died that they wanted to pass on to the generation. But we are not clever enough to write our own history. So the white folk come in and write the history of our struggle. And if the idea in it threatens the idea of white supremacy, they twist it, they turn it. Yes. Yes. They are the historians. Yes. Because we don't trust our own people to tell our story. This is very ugly. Yes. Paul Robeson was a giant. So when they told me I had to speak on Paul Robeson, they were trying to organize me because they were so frightened of what I might say. So you talk on Paul Robeson. I said, oh, thank you. Because Paul Robeson was our Moses before there was a Moses. Paul Robeson was our Jesus before we knew a real black Jesus. Paul Robeson was all of the prophets in one. He was like David, a scholar, a physical giant, a superlative football player, the valedictorian of his racist class. He went on to get a law degree and then went on to be an activist. He studied in Soviet Union scientific socialism. That's why when I heard my brother, I was sitting, I didn't want to disturb him. But what I heard inspired me. Because he talked about common purpose. That's socialistic thought. That's right. We're not individual. Who the hell cares about what you did if it's not doing good for others? He risked it all. Great voice, great cultural giant, great scholar, great activist. But not a lot of people behind him except the kind that say, "Go on, brother, we with you." Now we know them kind of people. Keep on keeping on. But we're not giving you no fuel to keep on keeping on. We know the kind that always say when you go into prison and you come out successful, you know, we were with you all the time, you know. We all sing the song in church, "Were you there when they crucified my Lord?" See, yeah, we're always there. They have never crucified one of our leaders outside of our sight. We are always looking. We are always listening. And we are always frightened. Look at what they did to Dr. King. I ain't going down that road. Look at what they did to Paul Robeson. I ain't risking my talent and my money for them Negroes. So when my brother passed away, his hope in us was a little extinguished. He should have been buoyed up. He should have been held up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. We've profited from all our ancestors. Yes, sir. That's right. And when you make what do you call it? Libation. Yes, yes. And you call the names of the people. That's right. That's right. That made it easier for us to be where we are. Yes, yes. Our mothers, yes. Our fathers, yes. Our teachers, white or black, yes. That helped shape us. The circumstances of our life that shaped us. Yes. We must always remember the ancestors. And we must always teach our children the struggle of those that went before us. How can you do it in the white man's system of education? Especially for our young people. See, at the college level, we can do it. But in grammar school, from preschool and kindergarten, yes. Our children should know the great ones. When their name is mentioned, we stand to attention. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would hope that we will stand to attention for all the great ones that made it possible for us to be where we are. And never, ever, ever let envy come into your heart where you can't see the value of your sister or your brother or their accomplishments because you think it should come to you. A lot of the sisters that helped me with the Million Man March and all of our great activities when we came to the mall in Washington, they were deeply committed to Hillary. And I understand it. That's why I said, I'm not going to fall out with you because you vote for her. I'm not going to fall out with you. I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. I don't care what idea, philosophy that you have. You are my family. And I respect your intelligence, but I challenge it when it's purely for yourself. That you vote for self-elevation rather than what is in the best interest of the majority of our people. So Elijah Muhammad said it don't make no difference whether it's Hillary or Trump or any other white person. He said they're all the same. Let me read something that he said now. He said, the black man of America has been privileged by the slave master's children for the last century to vote for whites for the offices to judge and rule. This freedom to vote has made the black man in America feel very dignified and proud of himself. He goes to the polls very happy to vote for a white ruler. This is my teacher talking. That's why I lift my teacher. And those of you who are students of great ones, you don't worship none of your teachers, for none of us are worthy of worship. But acknowledging our teachers that help shape us is gratitude. If you're grateful for what someone has done for you, don't try to hide it like it came from you. You know, like Melania. She became Michelle for a moment in time. And bold and brazen too. That's the way white folk are. They take the words of God and twist them. Can't you see that there's a state of their mind that's crooked like a snake? That even if the water you pour is straight, it takes the form of the vessel into which you poured it. I'm sorry, they're crooked. They're like snakes. They can't report truth correctly. They add one word, take one word away, and then you say, oh, they quoted Farrakhan. They quoted Malcolm. They quoted Dr. King. No. If they quote you right, they got a purpose. The purpose will reflect the twist of their thinking if they don't twist your words. You're dealing with a ruler that makes mischief and causes the shedding of blood. Let's go back to Elijah. He said the black man today is gradually changing to a desire to vote for his own kind for such offices of authority. We must remember that our vote is strong and powerful only when and where the white man can use it to get in the office over his white opponent. After the election and the victory, there are very few favors that come from his office to the black voters who helped and aided him in getting in the office. Why? Because he does not owe the black voter anything as long as he has to feed, clothe, and shelter us. The black vote could be cast or not cast. The white citizens of the government are going to win and continue to rule anyway. So why do I want to vote for continued rule by my oppressor? We have to vote for freedom from the oppressor. What's the theme? No. Let's say it again. Yeah, but you sound so weak. And really, in truth, see, we like slogans. Let's make America great again. But that boy gonna put teeth behind that. And teeth behind that. And them teeth gonna be in your behind and mine. I'm done. Yes. Honorable Elijah Mama said, there's much talk of this man or that man or woman. Who shall the vote of the people put in the White House for the next 4 years? Then he raises a question. How much good have the two parties, Republican and Democrat, done for us for the last century in the way of freedom, justice, equality, and real power? Regardless of what party wins, the die is always set against us, the black man or woman in America. This is the part I want us to think about. He said, injustice, crooked politics, and the breeding of corruption under crooked politics have been practiced ever since Adam to the present day rulers. Adam was the first crook. We never heard that before. There has not been justice for the black man in this race of people. And this is why the race, their race, suffers from the effect of chaos today. The white man's own evil has brought him to a place of utter confusion. So when the leaders are confused, why would you be in that party? When I say that party, I mean you want them to lead you and they're confused. They don't know what they are today and what they were yesterday. They're trying to figure it all out. Let them be. We are rising. They are falling. Now look. This is the last part of that. He said there are black politicians who would like to use their black people for selfish greed and will throw them behind any crook with money. Black politicians of this type have sold their black brothers to suffering and shame for self-elevation with the crook. Now, as a politician, do you want self-elevation or do you want elevation for the masses of our people? That's what caused Paul Robeson to suffer. That's what caused Harry Belafonte to suffer. Harry loves Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson was his mentor. He, Belafonte, gifted, talented, sacrificed his talent and the wealth that came from his talent to help Dr. King and the movement. That's what people of culture They use their skill and their wisdom to finance a movement for the mass of the people. My sister Nina Simone, she made a decision. Miriam Makeba,
that's right.
She made such a decision. Now, on our level as intellectuals and scholars, what are you willing to sacrifice to see the elevation, not of yourself, but of the mass of our people? It's going to take sacrifice. And there will be pain and there will be suffering. Are you willing to endure it for the elevation of the masses of our people? So, Trump is in. And the white folks that came out of the woodwork, I said, Mr. Trump is peeling back the skin of the onion of civility.
That's right. That's right. That's what you said. Yes, sir.
So the moment he was elected, according to what I've heard on the news, there were 700 hate crimes committed against people of color. The black, the brown, the Muslims. And now, you know, they're just now angry. Nigger. Shoot the nigger. Police, kill that nigger. They don't care now.
Yes, sir.
The skin of civility is gone. Our native people at Standing Rock, they have the right answer to protest what the enemy is doing. But how? How are they treated? They don't care for you. They don't care for us. Our Mexican family, they don't care for you. Our Muslim family, they don't care for us. Michael finally got it. And he wrote a song. They don't really care about us. He said, do me, Jew me, like me, kike me. What? Those fellas got that music, took it off the shelves. He had to redo it because Jewish people don't want any critique of them. Now I have to say that, you know, I don't believe you the people of God doing the devilishment that you do. I know who you are. See, now. I knew it was coming sooner or later. That damnable anti-Semite, here it comes. But most of us who achieve, we owe a debt to members of the Jewish community. And listen to me good. None of us have become millionaires or billionaires without some help.
That's right. That's right.
Mainly from the Jewish community. Some white Anglo-Saxon philanthropists, but mainly members of the Jewish community. They finance the NAACP.
That's right.
So be careful. Don't be too revolutionary. We'll pull your funding. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Urban League,
Yes,
great institution, but be careful. Because you know you ain't getting no money from your people. Institute of the black world, it takes people from the black world to support that institute. Now, I'm going to put a problem before Dr. Daniels and you in my closing. I ain't got there yet, but I'm on my way. You know, Donald Trump is a wind blowing on the bones. Yes, sir. See, the bones have never come together because of words. That's evident. You have never heard such a brilliant lecture in the few moments that he had with us today. You don't hear lectures like that. Here's Bill Clinton and Hillary. He might get $1 million for a speech, and you know they didn't say nothing like that. See, money for them, they printed up, you know. Right down in Washington, they printed up. One day, I would just like to take us through the ruin of America by the synagogue of Satan. Yes, sir. And why it is necessary that we build a brand new reality. Yes, sir. Not subject ourselves to theirs, but as the scripture says, come out of her, my people. Are you slow in coming out? I have never been pregnant as such. But every woman in this audience who has suffered through childbirth, isn't it interesting how the body is formed inside and it's drawing from the host through the umbilical cord? Whatever the host eats, the baby draws it into itself to build independent organs one day that will function on their own, function on their own, function on their own. But as it gets time, mother, they want to know how many centimeters have you opened? Oh, not too many. Well, don't worry. Soon, and very soon, the water will break and there'll be a show of blood and there'll be the turning of the feet that are where the head should be. That's what our problem is. See, we've been led by feet. In the absence of thinkers. No, this is real. Most of our leaders are not deep thinkers. The populist leaders. They're not deep thinkers. They got the right words that they steal from men like these. To sound black when they are trying to be a populist leader. What did Elijah say? What did Malcolm say? Let's fix it. And we just faking it, man. Go ahead. Yeah. I know why I'm here. Go ahead. I know why God allowed me to come at my own expense. Yes, sir. I would not ask Brother Ron, I'm sorry, Dr. Daniels, for 1 penny, because it was an honor to me to have been invited by him to share this great conference with you. Now, out of the treasury that the people support me with, we paid tens of thousands of dollars to come. I didn't come by myself. I do travel coach because I travel with 10 or 15 people. I bring my cook because I can't trust nobody cooking for me. And anybody that cooks know that if I belch wrong, you may die that night. That's real. That's real. Donald Trump is the wind. And as I listened to his cabinet, the men that he's formed around him, white nationalists, I said, oh, look at that. White people who love white people. White power. They talking about white power. You've been kicking their behind in this civil rights movement, and they took their sick behind and tried to rub some liniment on it and sit down and watch you rise. You pull down their Confederate flag. What the hell is wrong with you? I just left South Carolina.
That's right.
See? Take that flag down. Listen to you. Yes, it was 60 years ago, but that bum, he put a bomb in the Birmingham church. Get him! And you forced white folk, they had to do something. So they got an old man, and he was guilty. And didn't you feel good? White folk look like they're going to do justice by us. See, you just getting bamboozled again, like Brother Malcolm said. Hoodwinked.